while doing it. I did a short a couple of, I would say a couple of days ago, really talking about on how to know the difference between communicating and actually just talking. And I want to dive deep more into that by knowing the art of just being assertive, because there's a lot of things that I learned when going this process of just being able to communicate about things. And so I had situations, I can imagine situations too, where you're, say, at would you say, a conference or someone or in a meeting and someone disagreeing with you. And sometimes we act defensively. And then the times where we are pushed or challenged or we need to say no about something, this is when our different communication styles start popping out. Right. And so we have three different communication styles. We have assertive, we have passive, and then we have and aggressive. I almost forgot the last one there. When it comes to being assertive, I want you to know that this is what the go-to or goal is, to being assertive when it comes to our communication, because this is where we're going to make a real impact and really effectively communicate on what we need or what we want. And understand there's different strategies with different people. I'm talking assertive communication. I think you should always look at assertive communication, but also know with narcissists, you're not always going to get the case back to you, right? You might get somebody, most likely get someone who is aggressive with their communication, takes overpowers the conversation, overpowering with their emotions. You'll notice because their emotions are taking up the room, right? And so that's when you'll notice it's more an aggressive communication. When it's a passive communication, you're more the person that's silencing their voice. You don't really say much. You just kind of let the person do what they want to do. You don't say anything about it. Where when you are being assertive, you are respectfully being confident in what you say. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say when you're speaking. And this is what we're trying to get you to. And the last part is aggressive communication. When it comes to assertive communication, what that is you standing up for your rights and what you have to say. While respecting the rights of others, it's about clear communication and respect when you are conveying something to somebody else. I want you to use an example. I want to use just a real life example. So you're at a restaurant, you have an order that came to your plate, and then you wanted to take it back because you didn't like it. When you are not keeping your voice quiet, but you're saying calmly, you're just, when the waiter comes back, you're saying, this is not what I ordered, very calmly, and you want to be able to switch to something else. This is assertive communication, right? You're being respectful about it, and you're asking for someone to make a change towards something, and this is you putting that communication into action. With assertive communication, I really talk about this in my Paint That Peace Academy course. If you don't know about it, please feel free to message me and email me about this. But what we talk about is when you're doing assertive communication, you are expressing your needs, your feelings and opinions clearly. I had to write down some notes to make sure to let you guys know everything I'm talking about. Also, you respect the rights of others and feelings of others. You're open to compromise, and you're also, your body language is also open and confident in just how you stand up straight, how you show up for yourself. You're open to what people have to say, but you're still allowing what I like to kind of say it in different words is being able to say what you have to say, being unconditionally loving, but still have boundaries in place for that, for your overall communication and how you show up. Also, you'll notice a difference because when you're expressing yourself and you come in a sense of aggression, your main goal, you'll notice those people because they're always worried about winning or having the last word or overpowering when it comes to emotions. It's really not about what's happening. And I call this people who are just talking, right? People who are just want a fight in the conversation. This is just mainly about someone who just wants to win. It's not about solving the problem. It's just, I'm right and that's it. That's what you'll find with narcissists a lot of times, because it's always somebody else's fault. They're right about whatever it is that you're talking about. They don't regard your feelings when it comes to what the problem is. You'll notice because a person's more about defending their ego than they are about seeing the other person's perspective on the situation. So key things when it comes to aggression, they will have a raised or hostile tone. They will dominate conversations or interrupting others. They will also employ blame or accusations, which we talked about. And also the body language is really closed off and very controversial. And the last one is when it comes to passive communication. I just want you to be able to just know what each communication style is to see what you do. And so we can get to that first one of that assertive communication. With passive communication, you are silencing your voice, right? So you are, and a lot of times these are people who are avoidant or fear conflict. So what they do is they act like they don't have needs or rights or feelings, often out of fear of the conflict. And a lot of times we tend to do this when it comes to someone we feel like is an authority, whether it's a supervisor or someone that you're coming to, or sometimes when it comes to maybe those group meetings you have in school, or that you're coming together to try to make an idea happen. Well, what a lot of times that you might have an idea that is so good, but you're not allowing yourself to say because you just question yourself. That imposter syndrome starts to come up. Who am I to disrupt this flow, to disrupt what's going on here? And so you just question yourself. And instead of saying something, you just allow yourself to be in a space where you're not saying anything at all. Right. And so understand that in a lot of times this person operates just from the fear of conflict. And what can happen is that the key indicators when it comes to passivity is the fact of these people avoid conflicts or confrontations, and you probably know someone in mind, or this could be you, avoid conflicts or confrontations because what happened before in your childhood. Also, you agree with others even when you feel differently. A lot of times you just go with everyone. A lot of times it could be people pleasing too. You just go what the majority says versus even if you have a different idea or something that could be really not. I know a lot of times we don't say it's life changing, but you just have something that would work, but you just don't allow yourself to say something. And so you feel resentful because people aren't meeting your needs, aren't being met, even though you're not saying anything about what your needs are. And a lot of times with this person, someone who's passive, they're very withdrawn and just to themselves, right? And so what we're trying to get to is having that assertiveness, which assertiveness is having that balancing act or finding that middle ground when it comes to these communication styles and the way you're expressing yourself. I want you to master the assertiveness by allowing yourself to have that balance, because the beauty is really in the balance. So the goal is to express your concerns clearly and confidently without trampling over others or letting them trample over you, right? And so allowing yourself to still say what you need to say in a respectful and confident tone, and knowing that your ideas matter, your voice matters, and you matter. And I invite you to tell yourself those things so you can really be in that space. The overall goal is to be able to express ourselves clearly and confidently without us trampling over other people or them trampling over us. Next time you're in a discussion, I want you to really pay attention to your response. Do you have the inclination to go ahead and fight? Do you find yourself wanting to retreat, to dominate the conversation? Really pay attention to what that looks like so you know exactly what communication style we're trying to get you to look to go towards. To just wrap up everything up, assertiveness is about clear and respectful communication. It is a skill. Like all skills, it does take practice. But the rewards are even better because you have stronger relationships, you have stronger sense of self and your empowerment, and also a better understanding of what someone else is thinking while also recognizing how you feel as well. If you have any questions below, let me know. Thanks for joining on my YouTube or my Facebook page. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys next week. Feel free to share, follow, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Let me know which communication style you are below so we can be able to kind of tap into it. And if any other questions, let me know if you want to hear something else or have any other questions for me about how we can be able to work together further. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and let's get on this communication journey together.